Lower the volume a little bit. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Maybe I'm boosting it. Check, check. Alright. I think that's good. Hopefully. Check, check. Alright. So this is Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. It is a, from my understanding, a text-based game. Takes place in the same universe as, you know, Vampire the Masquerade, obviously. Let's check it out. Choose your clan. Bruja. The Rabble Rebel. The Rabble Rebel against power and rage against authority. A seemingly insignificant man with significant ideas will join the ranks tonight. I can already tell this is going to be an issue. Been true. The aristocratic blue bloods embodied wealth, sovereignty, and control. A top-level corporate executive will join the ranks tonight. The Toreador. Divas seek thrills of art, romance, and cruelty amongst stagnant undeath. Wow. I don't think these games are for me. A tormented artist will join their ranks tonight. Go with the Bruja. Let's name him Johnny. Myself, not for you, please. New York taught me to believe in fate. Had you asked me about fate back when I was a human, I would have told you it's just superstitious bullshit. That we are all designers of our own destiny. That belief shattered when the richest woman in the United States, the actual richest one, not a face you could have seen in the papers, of course, sank her teeth deep into my neck. It happened in the very same place you're standing in right now, by the way. Fate? You decide. Please. There's absolutely no need to be hostile. Just listen a little. See, my mistake was that I flew too close to the sun. It makes sense that my punishment was to never see its glow again. I was incandescent myself. I was hot shit. I had it all. Money, looks, confidence, actions, men, women, a career, a spark in my eye. The one you need to be born with. And that's when someone far more powerful than me saw my radiance and thought, that won't do. She robbed me of the light erupting from within and gave me a subtle, enduring gleam in its place. She decided that would fit me much better. It was the 9th generation kindred, just like you, an apex predator. Probably enjoyed teaching me the peak of human excellence, my real place in the food chain. It's such an eyesore when you look at a loudmouth braggart and see them for all they really are. The temptation to teach them a lesson can be unbearable. One of my sire's lessons was a lesson about fate, a message saying, you're eternally doomed to be at the mercy of your sovereigns. It almost drove me to destroy myself. What saved me was the ability to reinterpret her teachings. Hers wasn't a message of doom, it was a message of hope. Fate exists. One can shape it if given the right tools. My sire didn't believe my tools were fitting for the job. She considered them toys, and me as her amusing subject. Well, she's deader than dead now, and I'm still here, standing right where she stood when we first met. Might have wondered how I learned about your arrival to JFK Airport. My answer is, of course, destiny. As luck would have it, today happened to be the day some of my assistants were inspecting the coffins. Driving you here straight from the plane and having you wake up in such an unfamiliar place was a little desperate, and I do apologize for it. It's so rare for you to visit New York. 3 times in the last 15 years, was it? You're never eager to inform me you're here. I understand you still have that meeting on the 53rd Street later tonight. I'll provide a comfortable transport. I value your relationship very much, don't get me wrong. But it is precisely because I value it that I'm going to ask you to repay the favor that you owe me. You're the only one I trust to do the job well, and without attracting attention. You might think I'm crazy, asking you to breach the rules of our society like this. You might think it's impossible to get away with it unpunished. This is New York. I don't know about other cities, but in this one, fate really exists. And right now, it's smiling in your favor. This is how it begins. Music is pounding and your pulse is keeping pace. This is one of those nights that make you feel alive even though it started with you feeling dead. First came the messy breakup, and the realization you have nobody to talk to about how much it sucked. Still, you decided to roll with the punches. One Facebook search for local events later, and you found yourself just the thing for your malaise. Short subway ride and you find yourself at the club just outside Dumbo. Not a fancy one, mind you, more like a slightly refurbished warehouse. But hey, at least the drinks are cheap. The DJ seems to really know his shit too, alternating between cutting-edge industrial techno and classic Detroit crowd pleasers, expertly feeling out everyone's mood. An hour passes, then 2. Usually you'd feel awkward coming to a place like this alone, but tonight, find something soothing in joining the crowd, blending in, even as you allow the beat to take over. Sweat, yours, other people's, soaks through your shirt and pants in a matter of minutes. It all pops into your head. From the outside, the fully packed club must seem like a stuffy, smelly nightmare, but here, in the thick of it, it's exhilarating. You're not even on a pill tonight. There's this Latina chick whose curves are accentuated by the light dress clinging to her body, and she keeps bumping into you. Nothing tells you it only seems incidental. Yeah, it's a good night. You wish it could last forever, because you know all too well what the next day holds. Waking up, getting dressed for work, the commute, 9 to 5 grind that will make just enough money to pay the rent. Keep living in your overpriced shithole of an apartment. With Jessica moving out, it'll all be coming out of your pocket. Run some quick calculations in your head and immediately come to regret that you did. Never mind. You spot the Latina again. She's now next to another guy hitting it off. Chance of not going to bed alone, gone. Just like that. Fuck. Your mood temporarily shot down. You leave the dance floor and stumble your way to the filthy bathroom. Take a look in the mirror and start to wash your face, obsessively, over and over again. Voice from the past echoes in your mind. I've never felt like this with anyone. Seriously, I mean it. I feel like all of my relationships up to this point were test runs. A shitty way to compensate for my low self-esteem. This feels right. Finally. Shut up, Jess. This was the craziest fucking day of my life. God, I need a smoke. Pass me a light? What do you mean? Cops took the lighter? There's one in your mouth. Just shut the hell up. This is not you. Not anymore. Fuck off. This is so like you. Acting like some sort of Clint Eastwood wannabe when I really need you to open up. You think you're impressing people with this tough guy act? Fuck you. I know how broken you really are. You need therapy. Yeah, now that sounds like the Jessica of today. You raise your head and look in the mirror. Try to smile, but all you can muster is a self-pitying grin. There she is, the Latina from before. He says you look like you need a drink. You hesitate for a second or two and then blurt out a surprisingly enthusiastic, "Yeah." You start to talk. It becomes evident that she's into politics and you are eager to please. You might be a corporate drone, but you spend a lot of evenings reading theory, actual theory, not bastardized Twittered cliff notes, and organizing all manners of causes online. The status quo sucks. There must be something better. She agrees. You seem to subscribe to the same progressive political theories, have compatible ideas about the DSA's missteps, even watch the same YouTube channels. Goals are aligned. He's a bit more radical than you'd guessed. You attended a few rallies, been to a few protests, but this girl sounds like she broke her share of phases and kicked more than a couple of cops in the nuts over the course of her activist career. Her zeal is infectious. She taps into pent-up anger that you didn't know you had. The noisy club stops working for you both, so you hit the streets. Just as you're leaving, the DJ starts playing all the things she said. Too. Of course. You chuckle to yourself, trying not to slip into a bad headspace. She chuckles along with you. It's chilly outside, but soon enough you find yourself invested in listening to the girl's voice to care about anything else. You realize you've been holding hands for a while. The subway car is empty, save for a stoic middle-aged couple and a drunk, staring intently at his own feet. Plenty of room to stretch out, and yet she sits right next to you. Feel her thigh pressing into yours, breath on the side of your neck. Maybe it's the booze talking, but you distinctly hear it's asking if she'd like to crash at your place. "I've got a better idea," she says. At this point, you're down for anything as long as it lets you spend just a few more minutes with her. It takes you to a sleazy motel in the Bronx, trading a few words with a balding, tired-looking guy at the front desk. He hands her a key. Still holding your hand, the woman leads you up the stairs. The room you end up in is almost comically stereotypical, complete with flaking paint and a sticky floor. Not that it matters, though. The moment you step through the door, she's on you. You try to take the lead, but she's having none of it. Before you know it, you feel the rickety bed pressing against your back. It's sloppy, fun, fierce. Not once does she lose the initiative. Her hands reach under her t-shirt. Strange. Didn't look like if she was cold outside, but now her skin feels eerily cold. As if sensing your confusion, she slaps your hand off of her. She kisses your neck. You're overwhelmed by the sensation. Darkness. Taste of liquid fire and smoke on your tongue. Voice saying, "Sorry, kid. I did what I had to do to leave the city in one piece. Don't worry. With my blood and your principles, you're going to do just fine." She slams the motel door right behind her as she leaves. You lie helpless on the soiled, pungent mattress for some time. Minutes? Hours? Before you can focus enough to try and piece together your evening, it hits you. Big hunger. Grips you by the throat, makes your insides shrivel in terror. It's an all-encompassing emptiness that throws you on all fours. Crawl for a while, squirm on the floor in a sundering pain, then jump to your feet and bust out the door. Blackout. This isn't the room you saw when you last closed your eyes. He curses at you. A small, naked, buff dude holding a short leather whip. Wow, what a goofy motherfucker. Throws a punch. He yells out several slurs. He hits you in the jaw. Blackout again. The guy isn't moving anymore. There's blood on his neck. There's blood on his arms. Blood on the floor. There's blood everywhere. Wow, whoever did this was one sick puppy. You realize you're sitting on top of his corpse. You hear a whimper. No one else is there. A woman. Her arms are tied into the bed frame. An eye mask over her face, red marks on her back. This time you see it, however. You want to stop but can't. She almost manages to get a scream out, but it dies in her throat as you bite into the side of her neck. Drink. Blood. Drinking blood. You could swear you feel her life life force escaping her body, entering yours. Suddenly terrified, you tear away from her. She's not moving. She's breathing. There's barely a mark on her neck. Guy on the floor, though. Double over in a spasm, realizing what you did. You feel like throwing up, but you can only gag. Panic sets in as another realization dawns on you. Your heart's not beating. 2 fingers to your wrist, but no pulse. Same thing on the neck. Nothing. There's no breath coming out of your mouth. You have to get out. Get someone to call an ambulance for yourself at least. Probably too late for the dude on the floor. Did you really kill him? What a mess. You look up. The door to the room is ajar. A tall, handsome, broad-shouldered man fills the entire frame. Brushes an imaginary speck of dirt off his perfectly tailored suit. This is not what it looks like. Hey man, this isn't what it looks like. It's good to hear, because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're in a world of trouble. He surveys the room, not moving an inch from where he's standing. He shakes his head in mock concern. Murder. Assault. That's 25 years to life, if you're lucky. But since you're not, it's a death sentence. He takes a glance at his expensive-looking watch. Lucky for you, it's been a slow night. Otherwise, I might not have gotten here in time. Come on. The sun comes up in a few hours. You don't want to be around when it does. What's it matter when the sun comes up? So you don't even know. You should be glad I got here before you made yourself scarce. The man approaches you and starts talking. His tone remains unnaturally calm. Oddly enough, you find it both soothing and slightly unnerving. Now listen to me. No, this is all new to you, but I've dealt with hundreds of strays like you, and you're gonna experience, and going by experience, they tend to fall into 2 categories. First, they're the smart ones who carefully obey my every word and don't try to pull off anything stupid. I always get them where they need to be, safe and sound. Then there are the dumb ones. Punks who thought they could take me on. Wise guys who try to contact somebody secretly and without permission. The troublemakers who try to run off or make a scene. None of them got to their destination in one piece. In fact, most of them never reached their destination at all. His voice becomes slightly bored and monotone. You can tell he's given this speech before, likely dozens of times. So you see, while I generally consider myself pretty smart, I'm also a Mets fan. It's my one true weakness, one that inspired me to come up with 3-strike system in dealing with pups like you. You get on my nerves, once or twice, well, I understand. Not all of us perform well in stressful situations. But cross me 3 times and you're out. No excuses, no forgiveness, no mercy. As he's talking, he slowly approaches you, adding a bit of theatrical swagger to his walk. Eventually, he leans in, deliberately invading your personal space. Realize it's a test. He's daring you to do something about it. 3 strikes, and you're out. Say, I understand, sir. Now. You've never been too eager to meet anyone. This is something else. Man's very presence instills a primal fear in your heart. I understand, sir. But we have an understanding. Moving on, is there anyone you want to inform of your current situation? Tell them you're alright? Flashes his fang briefly, and for some reason the sight sends a chill down your spine. There's something very wrong about her. Someone closest to you? Jessica, ex-girlfriend. She kinda hates my guts, but yeah, I suppose it would be her. The stranger gives you a puzzled look and decides to prod further. The closest person in your life hates your guts. This time something resembling the look of pity. He turns his eye on the corpse on the floor. When it rains, it pours, I suppose. Well, if you'd like to ruin her day and let you know you're alright, give me your phone number. I'll have someone take care of it. Discreetly, of course. You hand him your smartphone so he can copy the number from your list of contacts. Thank you. This will be useful in illustrating my next point. Instead of giving you back your phone, the man hides it in his pocket. From this point on, you are subject to different laws than the ones you grew up under, and you'll be watched by many eyes to ensure these laws are respected. You are forbidden from letting anyone know you're still alive. You are forbidden from showing your face anywhere they know you. If anyone comes looking for you, it's over for both you and them. He interrupts his monotone recitation and stares deep into your eyes. So unless you want your girlfriend to end up at the bottom of the Hudson, I suggest you cooperate. Proudly displays his fangs again. Put Jess in danger. God damn it. I can only hope that you care for her enough not to do anything selfish. His words are meant to imply otherwise, but by now, it's obvious. He hates your guts as much as you hate his. He's itching for a fight and you're almost willing to oblige. Alright, I think that's enough lecturing for today. We're both on a bit of a schedule here. Now, I don't need to hurt you, but I can't do so in the blink of an eye. Just so that we're clear, I have the authority to end you right here, right now. This is not an idle threat. So are you going to play along? Or do we have to do it the hard way? Weigh your chances, but it doesn't look promising. The guy's fit, determined, and he looks like he means business. You, on the other hand, are confused, exhausted, and on the verge of a panic attack. Yeah, fine. I'll go with you. He almost looks disappointed. Wise decision. Follow me, please, and close the door behind you. Take one final look at the woman who's just coming to, and the body on the ground. This is fucked. Absolutely fucked. Pull the handle and close the door. The man leads you downstairs. Contemplates signaling the ball guy at the front desk, but he's too busy watching some 90s action flicks on a small, ancient-looking TV. He seems totally oblivious to your presence. You hear a dejected Jean-Claude Van Damme saying, "I just want to go home," as you're walking by. The would-be kidnapper stops by the door and addresses you before opening it. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, as soon as he opens the door, I'm making a run for it. Maybe I can outrun him. I'll save you the trouble. Can't. You can either get inside my car, and I'll get you to where you need to be, or you can try something stupid that you'll regret later. Do I make myself clear? Clear as day. Day, huh? He opens the door and gestures to a black Cadillac Escalade parked right outside the building. After you. Following the stranger's instructions, you make your way to the car and get in the passenger seat. The door locks behind you. Inside the Cadillac, it is almost entirely dark. The side windows seem light-proof. The man gets in the driver's seat, starts the engine, and drives away without another word. Who the hell are you, anyway? I'm the ferryman, here to take you to the other side. He weighs his next words carefully. Not to forgive me, I'm not in the mood to wax poetic about the state you're in or about my role in tonight's events. Just remember, if you want to survive the next 24 hours, you'll have to play along. This is all a fucking nightmare. The stranger smirks. Understand that this is for your own good. Times being what they are, you should consider yourself lucky. Drive in silence for about 20 more minutes. As exhaustion catches up with you, the streetlights fade into a blur. Eventually the car stops and the door opens. You emerge from your dreamlike state and find yourself in some kind of underground parking garage. You two are the only ones here. The man points to a nearby door. Go on in. Make yourself comfortable. If you get hungry, again, take a look in the fridge. I'll pick you up tomorrow and you'll get your answers. Behind the door, there's a small room. The window's just a simple bed and a single light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A small fridge is humming away in the corner, accompanied by a rattling AC fan in the wall. This is all kinds of fucked up. Trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Just know one thing. Remember when I said you were lucky? I meant it. See, my job is to get rid of problems, but I'm not always this polite about it. This time I've specifically told to mind my manners. So believe me when I tell you, considering how this night could have turned out, being stuck in here for a night is a really good deal. Now get in, or I'll throw you in. You step inside, the stranger nods. Good night. Closes the door behind you. It looks sturdy, but as he's locking it, you notice claw marks all over. Like some previous guests weren't satisfied with their stay. Decide not to dwell on it and check the fridge. A single plastic bag there filled with a red liquid label. Tomato soup? You feel sick to your stomach. Let's leave it for now. Lie down on the bed. A simple mattress on a metal frame. You can't help but think it looks exactly like the one back in the motel with the bound woman. Alright. Killed a man tonight. Did you? Maybe none of this is real. Maybe it's all an elaborate prank. Girl at the club, this might have put her up to it. All guys clearly in on it too. Now he's back with them and they're laughing their asses off. You don't know what to think anymore. Your mind races, but you're too tired to keep it going. Finally, you tense up one last time before drifting away in oblivion. Wake up. That in itself is a surprise. Barely remember when you drifted off. It didn't feel quite like sleep, more like plummeting into an endless void. You imagine that's how death feels. The room is unchanged. The lamp is still on, the AC is still rattling, the refrigerator still humming. Take a look at your watch, it's almost 9 p.m. You've slept 17 hours straight. Maybe you died. Breath is gone and you feel no thumping in your chest. Does that qualify as dead if you're still conscious? Not sure about that, but you were certain about one thing. Hungry. It's not your stomach grump, though. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You open the fridge. The bag is still there, and you take a closer look at it. It is soup, and its color and texture are off. Pull the cork out, take a whiff. Recognize the smell immediately. Shit. There's no mistaking it. Packed blood. The smell is faint, and you remember some situations in the past where you found it nauseating. Now it's almost... Oh, not almost. It is enticing. Feels wrong, but right now there's barely anything inside in your life that doesn't. Hell with it. Pour a bit of the liquid into your mouth. Tastes bland. Reminds you of cheap supermarket juice. Just enough flavor to register as what it claims to be on the box, but nothing like the real thing. Nothing like what you had last time. You swallow it. Somehow you don't feel sick. In a weird, messed up way, you can't help but to think it feels nourishing. Take a few more sips and then just another one. Suck on the bag a little. Eventually you find that you've emptied it entirely. All of you look at the info pressed in the side of the bag. 450 milliliters of it. Even with its blandness, you still feel like having more. Realize your body longs for that intoxicating high you felt when an image of that corpse crosses your mind, causing you to wince. What have you become? You try to piece your thoughts together, make sense of it all when you hear the lock click and see the door open. Standing there is the well-dressed stranger you met yesterday. Immaculate suit again. Predatory look. Like a hawk on a hunt. Somehow more relaxed tonight. Feel like a tame talk, maybe? Good evening. Slept well? Notices the discarded empty bag. See, you had a bit of a snack. Snack? That was fucking blood. What the fuck did you do to me? Are you part of some rich people's child-eating cult? Instead of replying, the stranger just gives you a pitiful look. Come on, we've got places to be. Cars humming in the empty parking lot just outside the door of the cramped room you've spent the day in. The man motions to it politely, but with a stern look on his face. Trusting you here, man. I'm touched. Sincerely. You take the back seat again. The door's locked. The stranger takes the wheel and starts the car. You drive in silence for a while. From time to time, you keep trying to catch a glimpse of familiar streets or landmarks through the blackened windows, but it's little use. The car's almost soundproof, so all you can hear is a bit of traffic coming in the car's engine. The driver doesn't say anything and seems focused on the road. Check the door handle, and the door is locked alright. A piece of dark glass separating you and the front of the car looks dirty too. There's nothing left to do. Wait. You didn't have time to think about it before, but you realize now that you're hungry. Not exactly. Not that rumbling stomach that grabs your attention. It's a need that starts somewhere in your abdomen and spreads to your chest, throat, and back of the head. You try to extract some information out of the man behind the wheel, but you realize you prefer to bask in the afterglow of your last meal. You wouldn't have expected it, but you spend the rest of your trip lost in your thoughts. A lot of them concern blood. It takes you another 20 or so minutes to get your destination. As the door opens, you try to get your bearings. Still in New York, that much is certain. Queens, maybe? After me. No sudden movements, please. You approach a nice-looking building that houses a 2-story gallery called the Art Hole. 2 large men in suits flank the door on both sides, and they give your companion a nod as you approach. Prompted by the stranger guiding you, you walk inside. The gallery is full, which is unusual at this hour to say the least. About 2 dozen faces fill the showroom. A number of the waiters navigate the gathering, serving drinks. All of them are beneath the guests' attention. Visitors are well dressed for the most part, but it's unclear what they have gathered here for. Nobody seems to be particularly interested in the art pieces on the wall, and the atmosphere is polite, unnaturally so. Any guests turn to look at you and the stranger who brought you here. Their glances are varied. See contempt on their faces, on a few faces, and animated interest on others. Most of the eyes in the room calmly observe you, as if wishing to appraise your worth. The last time you felt like this was at your previous job interview. It was like being a piece of livestock, inspected from all sides for any imperfection, so your wage could be haggled down. It was dehumanizing, and it made you feel dirty. When they called you to the next day to offer you the job, you declined. Even when you're nobody, you become even less if you trade away your dignity for a paycheck. Memory makes you feel warmer inside even now, although the state of your bank account never did. Good evening, Kadir. And to you, child. A noble, cold voice takes you out of your head and back to the situation at hand. Gallery. Crowd of strangers. You being brought here against your will, for what purpose? The room awaits your response. Good evening. Yes? You are addressing the Prince of New York City, Helena Panhard, child of Michaela. Thank you, my sheriff, but I'm capable of introducing myself. She's somewhat plain-looking. It doesn't seem to possess a great deal of charm. Still, the entire room is intently focused on her voice. She has influence over these people, that much is clear. You may address me as Prince, child. I realize your introduction into unlife was abrupt, and I understand your sire left shortly after. Rules of our society dictate I punish you both for your transgression. Murmur of agreement, maybe, can be heard from the gathered audience. But I am willing to listen to what our loyal sheriff has to say about the circumstances you embrace first. Remain silent. Decide it's best to stay silent and listen to the whole situation unfold. It feels like you're out of your depth here. Shall we begin? You're about to be judged by the court of New York City. Kadir, please tell me how you found this fledgling and what happened on your way here. Court? Friends? This some kind of secret society? Make-believe? Trusted informant who has chosen to remain anonymous at this time tipped me off about a suspicious kindred appearing in one of our domains. Upon investigating, I found them gone, but this fledgling remained in their place. A hunger made him savage a prostitute and his client in a Bronx brothel belonging to one of the ministry. I've already spoken to the Masquerade about this and made sure it'll blow over. Regarding the fledgling himself, surprisingly enough, he offered little resistance last night and cooperated on our way to the safe house. I was pleased to not have to force his compliance. We had a quick chat, but wishing to appear here post-haste, I urged him to join me, which he did without struggle. Again, a pleasant departure from my usual routine. His thirst partially slaked with the back blood we kept in the safe house, We had a pleasant enough drive here. The story ends with us arriving at Elysium tonight. All eyes are on you again. You feel a special interest in one of the faces. It's a beautiful woman with curly, almost blood-red hair and a dress to match. You see her whispering to some bespectacled man with a absent-minded look on his face. Who is she, you wonder? Thank you, Kadir. I'll take note of this fledgling's behavior and we'll take it into consideration later. She turns her attention to you. First, there's the matter of your sire. The person who brought you where Kadir picked you up from last night. Who were they? Tina woman. Very radical, unless she convincingly lied to me. It was special. Extraordinary. She had a fire, conviction, temper. She seduced me. Easily, in fact. Made me think she wanted me. I fell for it, and now I'm here. It feels awkward telling a room full of strangers about what seemed like a random one-night stand at the time. Not to mention that even though the Latina made an impression on you for sure, the face is already fading from your mind. You realize she never even told you her name. Well, Kadir, does that sound familiar? No, it doesn't. Or at least not familiar enough. I'll continue the search after we're done here. That chick. We rented our room at the motel, talked to the receptionist. You might know something more about her. Unlikely, but regardless, thank you for that observation. I will investigate this. What shall I do with the fledgling, my prince? What is your recommendation, my sheriff? Traditions are clear. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission from thine elder. Thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. I am ready to fulfill my duty. Stay your hand just for longer, Kadir. I wish to consult my counsel on this. Make sure everyone is in agreement. Of course. He seems strangely relieved. The prince leaves the main showroom and a handful of people follow her out. You're about to ask this Kadir all that talk of tradition and counsel when the red-haired woman approaches the two of you. Sophie. Sheriff, I was wondering if I could have a word with the fledgling. Before. She lowers her voice in response. Come now, Kadir. We all know that the verdict is going to be. Speak to them. You might not have to stain your hands tonight after. Words grab his attention. His face is hard to read. It's like several emotions are struggling for dominance. Anger, sadness, hope, gratitude. I'll go get my sword. He steps out of the room, the way you came in, and are left in the showroom with the woman in the red dress. He takes you aside and the eyes of the remaining guests follow you. Well then, fledgling, you're in quite the pickle. Did I hear that right? Did he say something about a sword? Your hearing isn't faulty. We only have a short while before the prince hears the council out and Kadir returns here with a blade. But listen, please. Last night you became a vampire. What? Oh yes, I'm well aware of how ridiculous that sounds. It's the reason why we have these nicer words for it. Kindred. Being embraced, having sire. That fact remains. Being called vampires, you're looking at them. They're us. Glance around, some of the guests are still occasionally looking at you, commenting on you in hushed tones. Many of the patrons are pale, really pale. Most hold glasses of wine. Not wine. It's not the right thickness. Not the right color either. You're trying to come up with something sensible to say, but you're drawing a blank. Makes a morbid kind of sense. You drank blood last night, there's no denying it. Your breathing is not returned. Your heart remains still. Vampire. Two voices in your head start battling for supremacy. One of them slowly begins to put everything that happened since yesterday together, coming to a conclusion that no matter how insane it might seem, nothing but what she's saying makes sense. The other voice just keeps saying, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm surprised. This is often how it plays out by design. You're deliberately keeping you in the dark and all. If we do nothing, you will be cut down. Sure as day follows night. But I'm here to offer you a chance. Way out. Under one condition. I will take you under my wing. If you're lucky, the prince will be in good mood tonight. Your deference to Kadir will work in your favor. You might agree to this, but only if you swear fealty to me. I'm not making this offer lightly. As your patron, I take responsibility for you. Your actions will reflect on me, and if they reflect negatively, well, I'll make sure you face the consequence. So let me get this straight. You'll make me your servant in exchange for my life. That's the deal? You insist on putting it in such a pedestrian terms. Yes, that is the deal, as you so eloquently put it. The alternative is here, I fear, final death at the hands of Kadir. Here, tonight. Steps and harsh voices can be heard from the side room. It seems the prince and her counselor return chosen. Kadir appears from downstairs as well and starts walking towards you. Hear the verdict has to be spared. I will intervene. Remember my condition. She flashes a heart-melting smile towards Kadir, not smile back. The sheriff's immaculate suit is now completed by a curved, oriental-looking metal scabbard, fastened with a colorful sash around his waist. Look vaguely ridiculous if it wasn't surprisingly intimidating first and foremost. Kadir takes his place next to you, and you observe as the prince takes center stage again. Loyal kindred of the New York City Camarilla, gathered here tonight, I have made my decision regarding this fledgling. She briefly addresses you. I want you to know that this was not an easy decision to make. For your part, you have done nothing to earn our ire. I do feel genuine sorrow for what must be done. We are all keenly aware that these nights need to close our ranks and trust the wisdom of our elders and their traditions more than ever before. There is no place for tolerating dissent when our very existence is under constant threat, though I acknowledge some of my counsel's divergent opinions on them. She takes a look specifically at one of the people who's left the room before, a rather plainly dressed, shy-looking man whose skin is somewhat healthier tone, bows his head in deference. I hold the final authority over this fledgling's fate, and I declare that while the embrace tonight might be the sire's responsibility, in their absence it is their progeny that must be punished. The sentence is final death. To be resolved presently. Kadir, you hear a scraping sound and see the sheriff has unsheathed his curved sword. It's a beautifully detailed blade which you expect must be worth a small fortune. Its apparent sharpness makes you freeze up. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. His quiet mumble is audible to nobody but you. His eyes meet yours, with just a hint of sadness in his countenance, one that quickly vanishes to give way to a grim determination. And he's out to bat. You will not get another chance to speak up. You make your choice. I'm not going down like this, damn it. Spare me. Prince, if I may ask that you stay the sheriff's hand for a while longer? Kadir looks at the prince, awaiting a response. The sword is still hanging above you, threatening to fall at a moment's notice. Is there something you'd like to say, Miss Langley? Yes, if I may. At first, the prince looks somewhat annoyed at the distraction, but stays quiet for a while, measuring the mood in the room. Orderlies suddenly look at you with an aroused interest, some of them dismayed at not seeing the bloodshed, but all intrigued by the unexpected twist. The prince nods. Well, let's hear it. Sophie takes a few steps forward. All eyes are on her now, but Kadir's heavy hand on your shoulder makes it clear you won't take advantage of the distraction. My prince, while traditions are clear, I believe that the proper context shall be observed in addition to the letter of our laws. This fledgling is a burden, but with proper guidance, they could become an asset to our domain. Am I to understand that you are volunteering to take this sireless child under your protection? Yes, I happen to think they might hold a potential that would be unfortunate to waste. I do expect their full cooperation, of course. Whispers can be heard again. An incredulous voice or two. A hush, just behead the fucker. Some suppressed exclamation of surprise. Silence. I ask all of you to make note of this moment. You might be persuaded to bend one tradition in this child's favor, but another will have to be enforced even more firmly in its stead. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. Certain that's a responsibility you wish to shoulder, Miss Langley? I'm willing to guide this fledgling and add a valuable ally to our sect in the time of need, yes. But I would like to receive thy right of destruction over them if it pleases you. It's clear tensions are high. It feels surreal to listen to strangers discussing your death, or second death, apparently. Keep silent. You decide it's best to let Sophie handle this alone and not interject. You have no idea how to handle this eyes wide shut crowd. Prince looks at you as weighing your worth. Takes another good measure of the room before she speaks again. I shall grant what you ask. Let it be known Sophie Langley of the Clan of the Rose will become this fledgling's patron. They shall be considered like sire and child. Miss Langley will take full responsibility for them, and I grant her right of destruction if she sees fit to use it. Let my intentions be clear, however. If I am to turn a blind eye to one of our most important traditions on this occasion, I expect it to be beneficial to the Camarilla, substantially so. I hope you find this verdict satisfactory, Miss Langley. Of course, Prince. Thank you. Very well. He turns to you. What is your name, child? Johnny, Prince. She nods. Welcome to the Camarilla, Johnny. Now, this evening proved to be even more eventful than I anticipated with the fledgling. Fates decided I believe our meeting here can conclude. Thank you all for appearing on such short notice. Give my regards to those who couldn't make it. Kadir, a moment of your time before I let you return to your duty. Of course, Prince. He shoots you a side glance that doesn't leave much space for interpretation. You will be watched. You will be judged. And if need be, you will be punished. The two of them leave the gallery. Well, Johnny, I think we've already managed to significantly improve each other's evenings. Let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? I think we should have a toast to a new fruitful partnership. Raises her hand to one of the well-dressed concierge, who now have reappeared in the showroom to refill the guests' glasses. The conveniently handsome man approaches with a carafe of red, pours it into 2 glasses. It's blood again, that much is clear. You're in 2 minds about drinking it, but the memory of last night's hunger makes you wince. Take a tentative sip. Expected the same blandness you tasted a few hours ago. This one you can actually savor. Smoky and warm, making you think of a cozy cabin in the woods. It does strike you as a strange image for your mind to jump to when drinking human blood. It is what it is. You've never tasted anything like it. Do you like it? I think New York City caterers have very bourgeois ideas about what good blood should taste like. Apologies. You must have so many questions. While we're on the topic, perhaps we should start with those related to sustenance. Feel this hunger constantly. How much do I have to drink to make it go away? The sad reality is it will never go away. No matter how much you drink, you will always be tempted to have more. Unless you consume someone wholly. But to the last drop, paying for a temporary with their life. That is a one-way road, losing your humanity. Best start by taking a single sip from a vessel. Be prudent. Hot, fresh blood will be more satiating than most anything they serve in a fancy glass, but it can make you more voracious. As to how much you should have, it depends. If you're frugal, you can survive many nights without a single drink, but it's risky and will tempt the beast that is part of our curse. Tomorrow I shall take you hunting and we'll explore this topic further. What you're having tonight should be enough to keep you happy for now. You'll take me hunting, you say? Am I expected to follow you around wherever you go? Yes? Her demeanor sours. If I request it, then yes. Unequivocally. Without my good graces, you will meet a swift and definite end. I have offered you a chance, but it's only worth as much as you decide to utilize it. A nasty smile makes her bare her fangs. Of course, you can feel free to save me the trouble and just meet the sunrise. Just do it in a secluded place so you don't endanger the masquerade. Her anger gone in a split second. A warm smile returns to her face. It makes you feel foolish for having wronged her in any way. You realize it's obvious play on your emotions. You've seen Kadir toy with you in similar ways. It doesn't change the fact that the trick is still indisturbingly effective. The concierge returns, asks permissions to intrude. Sophie agrees with a polite smile, leans in to whisper in her ear. You know the gallery is now almost empty. Being told the gallery is just about to close, but we still have quite a lot to discuss. We'll go to one of my apartments. My jalopy is waiting downstairs. Come. The smile she puts on makes you felt with the Latina. It's not arousing though, like magnetic. I find it hard to argue. Even though you're still suspicious of her authority over you, charm momentarily wins over you. Sophie leads you to a luxurious Rolls Royce and invites you to sit in the back. The chauffeur, a broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, middle-aged guy, starts driving immediately. Where did we leave off? I believe I started telling you about more about our customs. You heard the prince refer to our traditions. Chief among them is the Masquerade. As you might have gathered from us assembling at a niche gallery for closing time, our comings, goings, and doings tend to be somewhat secretive. We do not advertise our existence. We allow myths and modern fiction to morph and muddle the facts, so to the vast majority of the kind, we remain bedtime stories and pop culture icon. Say, is that one of our television shows about a vampire angel still popular? Shake her head in confusion. She shrugs and continues talking, look a little bit more distracted than before. Right. Can you pause? Can you point? Alright, we're gonna save and exit here. We'll pick it up later. It's pretty interesting. It's a little light on role-playing so far. I was expecting more elements to, I don't know, utilize stats or like choose your own adventure kind of thing. I mean, yeah, you get to choose the dialogue options, but you know, kind of role-playing is pretty limited. Maybe it picks up later after we realize our powers a bit more. But yeah, that was Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York, first look. Hope you enjoyed.